And I think we are live. We are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm the Crypto Crow, and I'm here with Dan Gambardello, one of my favorite YouTubers. I know a lot of you guys don't even know this. I reference his videos fairly often, and I look at him like the younger, better looking version, more calm, collected, calculated version of me. But welcome, Dan. I'm glad you made it on, dude.
Appreciate you having me, dude. I really do. It's crazy how we have not. We were just talking about this right before, like literally, we just met like 2 minutes ago.
Right. This is it.
So it's awesome chatting with you, man. I've been a big fan for years as well. I admire your approach to things. Uh, Always baffled when I see a picture of you,
Yeah.
like how tall you are.
My
But
algorithm.
what's so cool about it is one thing I've gathered about you over the years is you have a humility to you, and that's one of the things I like about you. So it's cool, like you're just like this. You're very tall, but so humble, and I really like that. And your content's awesome, man. So thanks for having me on. It's awesome meeting you, and cool to see the audience out there. Just happy to hear.
Yeah, man. I tune into you anytime I want kind of a calm, collected, well thought out video about what's going on, right? Because there's really kind of like no muss, no fuss with you. You're very charismatic, and you're just, it's like, yeah, all right, I understand everything he's talking about, and I get it, and I like that a lot, because a lot of guys, I feel, try to go after I don't know what the right word is, like the quick buck in a sense, where it's just like they kind of talk about like whatever's the most popular tagline of the day and things like that. And yeah, man, I definitely am. I'm excited actually to have this conversation. I'm actually curious, like when exactly, because you got in around the same time I did, I think, didn't you? Like when did you get into crypto? What kind of got you started in the whole thing?
Probably when you got it. I got into crypto in like 2017.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to say I think I bought Bitcoin in 2016 as like a small little thing that I was like, oh, I heard about it, put a little bit in. I think it pumped to like $1,000. And then I was like, oh wow, nice. Like doubled some money. And then I was done with it. And then I walked away from it. I was not an early adopter of Bitcoin or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2017. And really the story is I was running a recruiting firm with a business partner of mine at the time, and we were heavily focused on like fintech startups. And he came to me, I remember it was like we were at a coffee shop, I think, and he was like, what do you know about crypto? There's a bunch of crypto startups getting crazy funding. Why don't we try recruiting for them? And that was like my doorway to crypto. And that's when I started just kind of like diving in, learning about it, and just kind of that's when I started buying as well, really. So that's my background in terms of how I got into crypto. And to this day, still recruiting. Like that's my main bread and butter. That's my business. I run a recruiting firm.
Oh, really?
I'm
You still do that? I did
yeah.
that for like a month,
Really?
years and years ago, and I felt terrible about it.
Why?
It was like a headhunter. I was like a
Yeah.
corporate headhunter. So I'm
Yeah.
calling people at their jobs to try and pull them out of one company and put them in another and make a rip.
You felt
And
bad?
I would get screamed at by like CEOs and managers, like, leave my effing people alone. But I got so worked up, I started to feel bad. And then everybody's like, why do you feel bad? You're basically offering them a better job with more money. You're improving their situation and everything. I don't know. I took it all so personally. I was such a wuss. I didn't have it in me.
Dude, it is. I definitely understand that piece of it, but it is like the most rewarding thing because every time like we get a placement, it's just like, man, like I don't take credit for it, but it's like you feel like you just help change somebody's life for the better. Like they make a pivot into like some awesome opportunity. So, and that's really what I've been doing over the years. I mean, I think 2018 I went solo. Crypto Capital Venture is also the name of of my recruiting firm, and just recruiting for crypto startups across the space.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know you did that, man.
Yeah,
I
man.
thought it was some kind of fund or something that you were running. I had no idea. So Crypto Capital Ventures is a recruitment firm
Yep.
for
Yep.
crypto company. Well, son of a hell, I could have called you and probably had some people helping with some of the shit I got going on.
Yeah, man. I'm always hustling. People think I'm just like a YouTuber, but that's just like,
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I messaged you like at like 11. I was like, doing a quick video, and that's what it takes, like a half hour to an hour YouTube, and then I'm just like I'm hustling throughout the day, trying to recruit and stuff.
I've spent my entire morning talking with artists for my game, like, and then my wife comes in, she's like bringing some piece of meat on a plate, and like, and you know, she gives me all my like ogre shots, like my testosterone, my peptides, and all of that shit to keep me going, you know. And then I'm back in this chat, that chat. I got a phone meeting. It's like crazy. Like being on YouTube is really just kind of I don't know, man. It's like a cell phone
Yeah,
for us for the
yeah,
most part. We've got so many different people we're talking to, or projects we're building or working
yeah,
on, but you know, we just happen to talk about it on YouTube.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
I totally get it. I that is actually really cool that you're a recruiter. I remember the guy that I worked for back in the day did really well.
yeah.
Because when you do get a placement, well, what was there was a programming language back in the day that was like in crazy high demand. I think it was during Y2K, and it was like a language that was like Y2K proof. Was it D base or I can't remember, or SQL. I can't remember what it was, but it was like a database software development language that nobody knew, and it was like old school. So like all the guys that knew it were like 50, 60 years old at the time.
Yeah.
But all these companies were they were paying like $400,000 a year just to get these fucking guys that used to make practically nothing for this obscure language nobody
Yep.
did anything with. And yeah, so that was I think where I was like, that was my experience in like tech
Oh yeah.
recruiting.
That's why I
So
mean it's for me it's been so hard to even think about walking away from that business. I'm always drawn to just scaling it more and getting more clients because it is that rewarding. And anybody out there, it is not made for everybody. It is like a really it's a tough industry, but at the same time, if you can get some momentum, it's really rewarding. So
it's a grind, I'm sure, but I can imagine how, you know, it's like a real estate agent, you know, it's like your first 7-figure house that you sell, and that commission, and you're like, oh my God, I've been working on this for 6 months and I finally got it closed, and like, yeah, you know, and then you got to start it all over again. But
yeah.
so how did you transition from, I mean, so that's something you're still doing. How did you transition from the Bitcoin stuff and then getting into Cardano? Like how did you, like, I know what my situation was and my kind of like discovery of it all. Like what was your like, holy shit, this is going to be a big deal, and then kind of deciding, you know what, I don't care what people are saying or the FUD or the just the BS around all these haters. This is a big fucking deal. I'm going to be a part of this. Like what was that moment for you?
Yeah, it was actually two pieces to it. And one of the pieces a little controversial, which is my early days in crypto. When I got into crypto, it was like, you know, I was in that coffee shop just hearing about crypto, pivoting, recruiting to crypto, and then buying some crypto. And for me, I think it was like Bitcoin. I was in Coinbase and I saw Litecoin, and I became like a Litecoin bull right away. And that's why,
Litecoin.
yeah, that was my thing. That was my jam,
Okay. All
Litecoin.
right.
And it did well, like in the 2017 bull run. It did well. I was all about it. And then, you know, I started my YouTube channel, I think like right at the beginning of 2000, or it was what, 2018 is when I started my YouTube channel. And I would cover Bitcoin. I would cover a lot of Litecoin. And one thing I just started noticing with Litecoin on the macro charts, there were some concerns, and there was also just some drama within the community that just wasn't feeling. And
Was
then
it
that's why.
in regards to the founder?
No, the found Charlie. Charlie's awesome.
I just remember, and myself included, because back then I didn't understand market cycles like I do now.
Yeah.
And I remember when he sold his Litecoin, the whole world
Oh
lit
yeah.
on fire.
I remember that. Yeah. But
Yeah.
at the same time, if I remember correctly, he was like basically like warning everybody, yo, like don't bull markets come to an end. So he
Yeah.
kind of
Everybody
he did
thought he
like
was
the
full of
best.
shit.
He did
Then
the
like
best
was
macro
basically
CA.
using that as an excuse to dump on everybody.
Yeah.
Nobody got it. So everybody hated him overnight. Me,
No, but
I
I
didn't know
think
any better either. So yeah.
I actually think the way in which he approached doing that was actually stand up, and
Yeah,
I
for
I love
sure.
Charlie Lee. He's awesome. It was more just I was doing a lot of content creation, but I was getting like still hate. There was like this huge like pay with Litecoin movement going on, and I wasn't like buying that like as like the narrative, as like the cool thing. And I was starting to get a little bit of like hate for not just jumping on that bandwagon. But more importantly, it was definitely the charts. I saw some concerns and I was just like, and you know, for me, charts are very important, right? And at the time, what happened was we went through the whole bear market, all of that was happening. And I was kind of like, I want to find the next cycle thing. What's cool? What's going on? What's new? And that was kind of around the time when I think Shelly Hard Fork was approaching,
Mhm.
and I was just brainstorming with one of my buddies. He's a buddy from high school, but he's in crypto as well. We go out to lunch, and he's the one that really was just like, "Yo, did you see what's going on with Cardano, like Shelly testnet and staking? Like, do you see what's up with that?" And that's when I started looking into it.
Mhm.
And that's what got me. That's what hooked me. Like seeing it was just like the foundation being laid. And
Right. It's
and then
exactly right. I used to say that all the time.
right?
I still do because it still kind of is for the
Yep.
most part. But yeah, just many, many layers deeper now than it was then because there's so many elements to it.
Yeah, and that's what's cool about it. Like that was years ago and that was the foundation being laid. But I do still feel like in terms of Cardano, we're still like in that foundation building
Mhm.
process, the way in which these eras of Cardano are playing out. But then the other thing that excited me at the time was, all right, there's a lot of cool like things getting ready to happen on Cardano over the next few
Mhm.
years. But until this point, what's the story? And
Right.
it was the research backed approach, the slower approach. I like that. People don't
I do
like that.
too.
I like that.
Because everybody wants to turn $1 into $1,000 tomorrow, and they
Yeah.
don't want to wait because the
Yeah.
latest shitcoin just did it. Like
Yeah.
if this shitcoin could do it, why isn't Cardano? And they just don't understand it yet.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why I value your channel, because I feel like you do a really good job of explaining the ebbs and flows in a very intricate kind of way on the charts, and you kind of make sense of a lot of that, even though I feel like a lot of people still don't get it. They just do not understand that Cardano isn't Ethereum. Cardano is not Solana or a lot of these other blockchains. It is truly, in my opinion, it is very much in a league of its own. Like when they say, well, Cardano's third gen to Ethereum second gen, and I almost feel like it goes beyond that, because this is something that I feel is being built for decades and decades, if not longer, of use, and can continue to grow and expand itself. Where a lot of these other blockchains are just trying to figure out how to fix what they fucked up 4 years ago. And so they're not really able to move forward, whereas Cardano's consistently moving forward and reaching new milestones that matter, not just the latest gimmick. And so, and for whatever reason, as sad as it is, I feel like it's the gimmicks that sell people on putting their money into something that they don't understand. The gimmicks they get, the real tech and the real advancement and the real use potential, it goes right above most people's heads.
Yeah. It really does. The way that you just explained that is exactly that's why I like your content, because the way that you explain these things is just straight on and it's dead on. And I don't know. I mean, what do you think it is though? Like, is it just that maybe the majority, a lot of people in crypto, right? They are just like get rich quick. That just is the
Mhm.
way it is. So it's not like everybody that's in crypto is a macro minded investor. Even they're like, I consider
Right.
myself a value investor, right?
Right.
Like for the long term. So I'm trying to pinpoint and find the things that have that sustainable potential.
Mhm.
Cardano has that. I really think that. But do you think the majority of people in crypto just are just like they don't even think in that way?
I think that the crypto market moves. I think the economy, I think that the people involved move the same way the cycles do. Like if we look back to where we started in 2017, I was all about ICOs. Oh my gosh, this guy just made $1 million investing $1,000 in this random wallet address. How does that work? And what's I want I want to change my life. I'm grinding my whole life away right now. This is new. And I didn't really understand any of it for the longest time, right? I like with Charlie. I think Charlie's a cool dude too. I've never met him or even spoke to him, but in hindsight, I realized what he was doing, what his message was, and what he was trying to accomplish. But at the time, I thought he was a greedy pig, right? Because that was my mindset. I didn't understand yet what he was doing and why, right?
That makes
So
sense.
that was me being wrong at the time. And I never like went out on YouTube and like, this guy's a piece of shit. But it was very much like, what is he doing? He's dumping his crypto. He doesn't believe in his project anymore, right? And so, which is a lot of the shit I got when I told everybody I sold Cardano at a certain point in the market. They're like, what are you doing? You're not a believer, you know? I'm like, I am a believer. I just happen to know more than you.
Yeah.
So, and so I get all that. So, but through the years, you kind of learn that, okay, it's like crypto people and like your wealth generation in this transitional era is very much like, it's almost like a, dare I say, like a 12-year plan, depending on when you start. You know, your first market, you learn, you make a little bit of money, and or you lose some money. You're holding on for dear life when the market's dropping because the media is telling you it's going up, but it's not going up. The cycle's over, and then you're held up. You're holding all your bags until the next cycle, when now you're better prepared. Now you want to continue averaging down, and you want to better position yourself, and you're doing more research to understand why this happened to you last time. What mistakes did you make? And then maybe you start building a little bit of a nest egg when there's blood in the streets, as opposed to buying at the peak. So now you're in a much better position, and then you get more profit. Now you really understand what's happening, and you're starting to pick up on the cycles of things and the ebb and flow. And then by your third cycle, you're fucking retired, right? And so and that's what I think happens. And it's the way we educate ourselves. Some people, they get burned, they don't know anything, and then they go away forever, writing it off as a scam until they're forced back into it when the rest of the world is transitioned and they're left behind, or they use it as a learning opportunity to do better next time. And I think that's the difference.
Yeah.
And I just think that's where we're at. We're getting a lot of newcomers because of the media. There's now a lot more mainstream adoption because of the funds and the ETFs and all of that. And so we're just getting a whole new era of people that are slowly learning, and they'll make the same mistakes most of us made, but with many more of us now on YouTube being able to explain our journeys, how things actually work, and much more people are better educated from the beginning.
Yeah.
But the deep tech of it is still the challenge.
Yeah.
Because we're beyond the meme coin stuff and the ICOs and the, like, you know, I created this white paper full of ideas and I want you to give me $20 million to like basically not do any of it because I really don't know what I'm doing. But my idea sounds great and you're going to flip a quick profit. And I think we're beyond that now. And so now it's really about tech, and that's what's separating the meme coin people from the real tech people.
Yeah. But there is still such a and maybe that's where the challenge with Cardano comes into play, especially if you're a content creator, like you're kind of out there in the public, is that meme coin side of things. I wish I didn't feel so nervous just to even talk about Solana or something, like, because I'm not a hater. Like if you're a Solana only holder, I'm rooting for you. I hope it hits all-time highs and you kill it. But
it's going great so far.
It's definitely, though, an environment in which you have all this crazy volume with meme coins. Like that's the culture, like there, right? But with that comes all that huge audience and the people that are playing the casinos and that want to get rich quick, the newbies that think they're going to retire in 6 months. They're absorbing this narrative about Cardano,
right?
And there's masses of these people. And they believe it right away, no matter what their favorite content creator that's like a shiller of meme coins. They'll believe anything they hear about Cardano. And then boom, those are the ones that are just popping up all over
Twitter, spreading these.
It's a viral misinformation message about Cardano that's going. That's one of Cardano's biggest challenges right now. It's crazy. And it just is what it is.
I think though the fact of the matter is that some people, it takes more for people to learn. Like I was just reading an article about the Solana meme coins, and like 50% of them get rugged or abandoned after they reach like 20 million bucks or whatever, and then everybody takes a dive, and then people just try to rinse and repeat until they get rich, but they're not really learning anything yet, right? It's just they're so indoctrinated into this is how you make money in crypto. And if this one fails, you just try the next, and then try the next, and try the next, and maybe you make a little profit on. And it's such a hustle. And listen, I'm not going to say that people aren't making money in meme coins. There are a lot of people that do well in meme coins once they learn the system of it. But I feel like meme tokens it's like their own little industry that I kind of separate pretty dramatically, at least in my own mind, from everything else in crypto. Meme coins are, like I always say, they're a pet rock. You know, how good is your marketing budget? You know, you can sell literally you can sell anything to somebody with marketing, right? And so I always look at meme coins as a pet rock. Even the meme coins are like, oh, look at all of our use cases, look at all of our planned roadmaps, everything, whatever. I don't give a fuck. It's a meme token. It doesn't mean anything to me. What I care about is the system it's built on. How does the system it's built on handle the throughput of the shit coins that everybody's trying to make money on? Is it shutting down all the time because it can't handle the load? Like I think that, you know, it's like important. If a bodybuilder goes to the gym and he buckles under 100-pound weight and he should be lifting 350, I'm like, I think you got a few more years left to go before you're actually going to matter to me.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think that's the disconnect. And there's so many paid advertisements related to these shit coins on Solana, and they all use Cardano as, this is the thing that I see. They say this new meme coin on Solana is going to 1000x. How will that compare to Cardano's recent 24-hour loss, right?
Exactly.
And that's the bullshit that they put out, and it's everywhere. And so these newcomers that are trying to figure out how to get rich quick, they see, oh, meme coins is how my neighbor made $100,000 last year or last month or whatever. That's what I'm going for. Oh, what's this Cardano garbage? Boy, everybody seems to be shitting on that. But the next poop coin is going to 1000x. I'm all about it. And then if they happen to make any money at all on that shit coin, now they've established trust. And so the next article they read, oh boy, another one that's anti-Cardano, pro shit coin. And that's just how I feel like this stuff spirals out of control. And the reality, though, is that the real use cases, like the World Mobile Token, the Cornucopias, like the big companies that are putting a lot of money building big teams, really taking on, you know, the really important aspects of like the crypto sphere, you know, the metaverse, connecting the unconnected, all of these real world major things. It's going to be, those are going to be what cause a lot of these people to really miss the boat when it comes to Cardano.
Yeah.
And, you know, to each their own. We're doing the best we can, but we can't. It's like you can lead a horse to water. You can't force it to drink. And that's just kind of the way I look at that, and Solana and meme tokens and everything else.
Yeah, agreed. I agree. And the one thing about meme coins, though, is also I feel like there's two different types. There's the ones I think we're talking about, like just the insane 95% are just like a scam, like a honeypot, a pump and dump, like. But then there is a piece of meme coin culture and meme coins that I actually really like. I mean, I was tweeting about one on Bitcoin yesterday that I'm excited about. Like, but it's like a, I wish we could find a new word for this type of meme coin, but it's like in the Dogecoin category, right? It's like, it's established. There's some type of community. There's some type of culture that I think is healthy. I think it's good. I'm not
I agree.
against meme coins. Cardano has a couple, right?
Has the best shit coin on Cardano, Crow Token.
Crow Token. There you go, right in your background.
Fans get so pissed at me when I shit talk my own token.
It's right in your background.
I just, you know, it doesn't matter. Shit coin's a shit coin, I guess.
But if you look at even the meme culture in Cardano, like there's a healthy piece to that, right? Like the community. I talked about Sneck community. Dude, they give me such a hard time. It's ridiculous. Like I tweeted about this meme coin on Bitcoin.
Oh, they're in the chat right now, of course.
Dude, I tweeted about this one on Bitcoin yesterday, and then boom, they come flooding at me. How dare you? Like, why are you not? And I appreciate that community. It doesn't mean I need to be like, you know, doing videos and talking about it all the time, but I appreciate that segment of Cardano. Look at what they did in the bear market. They were so positive, and they were still building. They were still doing their thing. I appreciate that. And that's the side of like the meme culture that I appreciate. And I think, you know, for me, it's a small piece of my portfolio, meme stuff. Right. But like people are coming in the masses into crypto, and they're like, let's do this. You have a better shot of going to casino, just picking a number on roulette and picking, like, if you're going to choose meme coins, like you have a better chance, I think, just going to casino and just picking a number. What is there, like 36 numbers or something?
Yeah. And I think you're right. But the flip side to that is when a meme coin does go big, it goes real big.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's the draw.
Yeah.
You know, your odds of landing on, you know, one of these 1 in 100 or however many there are now. I mean, I don't even know. I feel like new ones are launching every day, you know, and the people are just recycling venture capital money into the next shit coin that they're going to pump, you know what I mean, to get 1,000x and then dump on everybody. And it's just like, it's a hustle, and the public is the victim of that. But it's the ones that do really well and they get really lucky. You know, if you're making 45 grand a year at a job you hate and you're living a life you can't stand, you just want a leg up. What are you willing to do to try and play the odds of changing that? And that's the way I look at everybody that comes to my channel, which is why I am so brutal about a lot of things, because you know, I feel like it's a responsibility to an extent. It's like, I love the me. I own me. I have some bonk. I have a little snack. Damn it. I have a handful of different shit coins that I like to look at and just think they're kind of fun. But to me, it literally is like a pet rock on a shelf. I don't expect anything to come of any of them, especially this late. You know, maybe I'll 2 or 3x some of them, you know, over the next year. Cool. But it's the communities that like Cardano, Solana, Ethereum, the meme coin communities in a large extent are the real preachers of the blockchain they sit on, which is why I do value almost all of them. Like the Snek, I feel like Snek, Hosky, every time I don't even own any Hosky, but I think they're the funniest fucking people. And they're always pumping, talking. All these meme coin people are the first ones to pat you on the back or smack you in the mouth, if you like, depending on what you say. But I feel like all of it is a little tongue in cheek, and it's all just a way of continuing to get the name of that token out there. And I feel like I get it and I appreciate it, but the hustle and the syndicates and the VC groups that push these meme tokens for no other reason than to enrich themselves at the expense of the people buying them that they're able to market to, those are the ones I have a real problem with. And it just so happens that the majority, in my opinion, are on Solana.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And that's what I'm trying to separate. And I don't know why I didn't even bring up Hosky, because Hosky doing so much for Cardano. And really, I mean, he has been. And this is coming from me, like, we don't have the best initial history, but I'm definitely I'm a fan of Hosky now, and even friends with Hosky. And
I didn't know of any history. Did you guys get a ICF fight or something? Or
it was going back to my Coco Loco days. I don't know if you remember those days.
No, what's Coco Loco?
No way.
I vaguely remember something about a Coco Loco. Was that an NFT or something?
Yeah, right when Cardano was launching NFTs, I launched this collection, Coco Locos, the palm trees.
I don't think I ever saw that, man.
Dude, that gets me so hyped that you've never even heard of it. Because like I got so much hate. I don't even know. We don't have to go down that path, but I got so much. But Hosky was not a fan at the time. But you know, eventually, I mean, we're talking probably like a year, even more than a year later, we connected. And dude, I love the guy. I love the dude. And back to the meme coin talk. That's what I'm saying though. Like, there's so much value in what Hosky does, I think, for Cardano and the community. And it's a piece of the story too. Like, you have all these different segments of Cardano, and you know that piece of it is one piece of it. You alluded to, like, you just mentioned briefly, pivoting a little bit, but you were mentioning, I think, how much left of the cycle we have. I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are there.
Well, I think it's going to be a heavy full year. Okay. I mean, I think we may very well. You know, I'm kind of a conspiracy nutter, so. You know, if I'm to guess, these tax proposals that they're working on, I think that they're going to probably try and pass them sometime either this year or early 2025, or even mid or late 2025. But if it passes in 2025, they're going to make it retroactive for the year and catch all these crypto bros by surprise who either didn't think it was going to happen or whatever. Honestly, I think it depends on who's elected. You know, that's obviously going to play a significant role in it. But yeah, I mean, I think that we're probably going to spill into 2025. I honestly believe that there is a potential for this being an elongated bull market that doesn't end in the next 24 months, let alone the next year. Because I've looked at, you know, long-term charts, obviously, and I've shown people in a multitude of ways that with everything going on right now, and now with BlackRock, Larry Fink, and all this like real world asset tokenization talk, the fact that they're looking at potentially testing the traditional stock market trade to go in 24 hours. I mean, they're laying the foundation now for tokenizing all real world assets. And when that happens, you want to talk about a super cycle, like that is going to send everything to the fucking stratosphere. And I think that's why they're launching these funds. And like I talked to Gary Cardone, and I went to his house and we had a good discussion. And, you know, he doesn't think that there's going to be a Cardano ETF anytime soon. And I'm thinking, you know what? There's going to be an ETF for anything that the elites want to try and have some control over. Yeah. And so don't kid yourself, you know, is kind of what I was trying to allude to when I was talking to him, because I believe that Cardano is absolutely going to be utilized for a lot of the transition in real world assets, whether it's in its own vertical or otherwise. We're going to see. But dude, I think that from here on, I think we just keep going. I really do. I mean, what was the NASDAQ bull market was like 10 years, you know? And when I was talking about the double peak of the market last cycle in April on Twitter, everybody thought I was being an asshole. And I'm like, no, if you look, the charts line up identically to the 2007 NASDAQ charts, the same price action. You can bar the bars pattern or whatever. I threw that on top and it matched up identical as we are heading into the first peak. And I'm like, man, if this plays out like the 2007 NASDAQ, we're going to have a double peak cycle here. And that was at a time when that's never happened. So everybody was like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm like, it does make sense, because we're slowly transitioning into what Wall Street wants and how Wall Street plays the markets. And that's when I started getting into like the Wyckoff accumulation and distribution, and just basically better understanding how Wall Street takes the market and how we're transitioning into that. It's been a 10-year bull run. Maybe it starts this time. Maybe it doesn't start until 2030 when everything is really implemented. But that's where I think we're headed personally.
Yeah, me too. I really get the sense of that. Like, and you know what's kind of cool is like that would be a first, right? If this cycle is kicking off something different, something new, that would be a first. But what's really cool about it is if you just even look at what just happened, I keep thinking about how Bitcoin broke all-time high before the halving, right? That's never happened. Right. So it's like we want to start seeing indicators and confirmations of Bitcoin doing something that it's never done. And we're starting to see that, right? Bitcoin breaking all-time high before halving has never done that. And that's like plays into the case, like, you know what? We might be heading into a new era, new cycles. And that's something we all have to prepare for, because we just, you know, we've been very spoiled with the consistency of these 4-year cycles. So there could be a lot of volatility along the way, a lot of fake outs, and the sentiment will shift so quickly. And I think that's just why the best that any of us can do is just be prepared on any given day at any given moment for anything to happen, really.
How much do you think this market cycle is matching up more in line with what was happening in the 2017, 2018 peak?
So much
compared to 2021. Yeah.
So much. I just, the video I just uploaded earlier is literally, I was comparing even the daily chart, 2017, because there was a similar dip happening. It was like a 30-some% dip.
Right.
So what's happening right now, a little consolidation. But that was happening months after that 2016 Bitcoin halving. Right now, this similar dip is happening literally like a week after Bitcoin halving.
Right.
So, but
super
yeah,
cycle.
Yeah, super. It could be. Well, yeah. I don't know. I'm trying not to get my hopes up, man.
I know. I don't even. I try not to think about it. I try not to think about it much myself. But if we do end up proving to be in some form of super cycle, it would not surprise me. The only thing that would surprise me is it doesn't happen in like the 2030 market as opposed to now, because I still feel like there's so much still that's being worked on and finalized, both from a regulatory perspective as well as the tech perspective, which blockchains are going to be more apt to facilitating these transitions.
Yeah.
That's what I'm most interested in right now. I don't give a shit about the meme coin stuff or making a quick buck. Maybe I could really dive into the meme coin markets and get a bunch of views and build a bigger community around that. But that's not the direction I want to take my viewers personally. I want to focus on the real shit. You know what I mean? The real world applications that are going to really help define our future, that our children are going to grow up in and work in and operate in. And how does AI play a role in that? What does AI mean in transitioning people out of current jobs and into new ones? And how can I prepare my viewers, their kids, my kids for what I believe is coming, and which blockchains are going to most facilitate that transition? And that's one of the reasons why I've hung my hat on even more on the Cardano, because Charles be damned. Like I like Charles a lot. We have a good relationship. We have a, we have a good relationship. It's better now, I think, than it was, through the bear market when everybody's got their heads down, right? But it's like people come to me all the time talking about Charles and asking me questions about Charles. Like, we've never had a barbecue together, folks, right? Like it's not that kind of a relationship. But people say that his political views are divisive and that he pushes people away from Cardano because he likes this person or that person. And I'm like, he's no more to Cardano, in my opinion, as Steve Jobs was the Apple. And Steve Jobs was an absolute asshole and everybody knew it, right? So it doesn't matter what Steve Jobs' political views were necessarily. What mattered most is the technology that he helped define and create. And it doesn't matter that he had armies of people where, the story, I told my kid I was going to create a product that held 1,000 songs for my daughter or whatever. And then he told his engineers, like, build me a product that can hold 1,000 songs. And they did. And then he goes out and he talks about it. I think Charles has a much deeper, obviously he's much more deeply woven into the direction of the development of things because he's actually a developer. But I don't let like some quip or quote or something from a YouTube stream dictate my perception of what he's building, right? The same way, as far as like presidential candidates, I care much more about what policies they're enacting, not like, is he kind of an asshole? Right? Like, I don't care about that. I care about how he's affecting my life. So I've really hung my hat on Cardano for just so many reasons that have continued to prove year after year, cycle after cycle, that not only is it not going any damn where, but it's only getting better every 6 months. It's only improving and further building upon the way it can play a major role in this transition that I see happening before our eyes. So I will say, though, there is another project getting ready to launch that I hint to, and I love to hint about it, that I do believe is going to be very much like getting involved in Cardano, and it was like 2 cents. And I'm like waiting. I'm waiting for them to go public, and I'm under NDA, but I've read all the shit. I've read all their papers, and I'm like, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that. I don't think they're going to sue me. I just had a conversation with the CTO last night, video call, and I think they're getting ready to launch their light paper today, if I'm not mistaken. And then once that's out, then I'll be more free to be able to talk about anything. And I'm going to hit it hard because I think it's going to be a big deal, and I think it's going to be a big boon for Cardano too. So,
See that? You see that, everybody in the live stream? Do you see this? What he's doing? Dangling the carrot for us. It's ridiculous. I want to know so bad. I'm so curious.
I can tell you what it is. I can tell you the name of it. I can't dive into it just yet, but it's Apex Fusion.
Oh, okay. I think I follow them on X.
You probably should if you don't yet.
Okay, so you can, and I think it was maybe yesterday I saw them post something, or I was like, what is this? Interesting.
Right.
Okay, so you can say that.
I can say that. I can definitely say that. And I can also say that I actually found out about it from Charles.
Okay.
So, and I can't get into much context about that, but he wasn't initially sure what the motives were behind it. But when I bring on the CEO and he explains like the story and how he got into crypto and everything, turns out he's been watching me since 2017. And like, we had the coolest fucking talk on a video chat, and then he sent me a bunch of stuff, and man, I'm like reading through it, and I'm like, dude, this is everybody's second chance. Like, you're gonna want to be into Cardano for sure, but you're probably gonna want to take a look at this because it may very well be that. I tell everybody, it would be really nice. For a while, I was telling people it'd be really nice to have kind of that Cardano at 2 cents moment all over again. You know what I mean? And like really go.
Mhm.
And I'm like, this may very well be it. Like,
Wow.
I'm actually, I'll leave the rest for when I'm able to really dive into it. But yeah, I'm actually genuinely pumped. I'm more genuinely excited about this than I probably have been about anything since Cardano, aside, which is for completely different reasons. I'm super excited about World Mobile Token and Cornucopias,
Yeah, they're awesome.
and IAG. But like
There's some
ultimately,
ridiculous companies out
yeah.
there that are just building, and they're good reason to be excited about them.
What are your favorite?
I knew you were going to ask that before we started recording,
I want to know,
and I didn't want you to. Because I don't talk about it a lot, and you know the reason. A big reason I don't talk about it a lot is because like I have favorites, but how that translates to the way in which I'm like trading and buying and doing I have a very like specific weird way of how I'm entering and exiting, like just throughout the bear market, even now. Like I do a lot of buying and selling, and I don't like covering like the most Cardano native tokens right now because like they are lower cap. And I always have this piece of my conscience is like, I don't want to be creating content. And then I'm like, oh shoot, well now it disrupts the way in which I'm buying and selling. Cause I never want to intermingle that. You know what I'm saying?
You mean like in terms of like the fundamentals compared to the charts?
Yeah. I just feel like there's a responsibility in covering smaller market cap tokens.
Sure, I absolutely agree with that.
And
but at what point do you disconnect your like passion and personal interests from just what charts are telling you? Like, to me, it's as much about having fun as it is learning about new technologies and how they're used. And I get what you're saying, but I also, it's like I wouldn't.
Well, let me ask you that question because that's what I've struggled with. Like
but then you'll answer if I do.
Well, I think I'll answer because it's not so specific of a question, but my struggle really is like, and it's annoying as a content creator because there's so much I want to talk about and I just don't because I just want to be very careful. You know what I'm saying?
When you say careful, like you don't want to end up wrong or proven wrong about something.
Yeah, kind of like wrong about a low cap thing, that I'm holding or trading. And that's the question I had for you.
You don't want to lead people to a poison pond.
Yeah, it's just something that just isn't going to work out, right? Like, I like more established projects, and I think there's a certain market cap in which I feel like, all right, whatever I do, it's not really moving price or anything like that. Because that's my concern always. Is my content going to like move price in some way, or that's my concern, and I try and stay away from that as much as possible. Not because I have any ill intention at all. But
absolutely, I completely agree. I understand. I mean, dude, you're way bigger than I am. I mean, I've had so many issues with my channels over the year. I just don't fucking grow. So I just don't grow, right? Like I just do my thing. But I know, which has been proven multiple times, I can move a market cap by 10 million bucks in an afternoon.
That's what I was just going to say. So that's why I asked you that question, because your channel is big and it's big enough to make an impact. So like what does that look like? Like is there a threshold for you that you think would be a safe market cap, or you don't really care?
I don't really look at things in terms of market cap. If I did, I probably would have never got into Cardano when there was nothing more than a bunch of documents and a busted wallet. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like for me, I try to look deeper than all of that. I don't focus on market cap. Market cap will come. What matters to me most is the tech and the mission and the people involved in bringing that through. So
yeah, I agree.
And at the same time, it's like, even when I am talking about a project, if I feel it's iffy at all, dude, my own coin, I tell people all the time, it's the best shit coin on Cardano. I make no claims about it's going to go 10x or it's going to the moon or any of that. I don't look at Crow Token as like a profit venture whatsoever. But I'll talk about it on occasion. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I talk about it as it is for what it is right now, not what I want it to be in the future. There's a difference between talking about something and then misleading people. That's what I won't do about anything. I won't mislead anybody, whether it's a paid segment or something I like. Just because I like it doesn't mean you should run out and get it. Exactly. Right. And so that's the message that I always try to make clear, because my risk tolerance may be much different than yours or somebody watching. And so what I consider a fun adventure is a fun adventure.
Yeah, exactly. And your interests, I'm sure, are different. But okay. Well, so what are some of your favorite projects on Cardano?
I mean, I've already shared most of them. I mean, I like IAG a lot. I like basically having a file coin for Cardano. I like I'm actually really interested in this new merger, the AI merger. Was it AIS token? And it's like the Singularity Net, and they're merging with some of the other groups. I don't own any yet, but I'm interested in it. I'm going to start learning more about it, and then I'll talk about it, whether I own it or not. I'm planning on talking about it. Cornucopias obviously is my biggest in terms of metaverse, dude. I mean, I have land in Sandbox. I have, which is still pretty valuable, but I don't even care about Sandbox at this point because I've tried building on it, and it would have cost me I got an $80,000 quote to build like a fun thing on my land. And I'm like, 80 grand? Are you like, really? How are people supposed to adopt this? It's all basically going to be corporate driven. Maybe that's good, but I don't think so, especially when, in my opinion, there's much better stuff coming. Yeah. So when I look at Cornucopias, and I'm in a group chat with the team. I can ask them questions anytime I have one. I talk to them all the time. I know what they're building. It's one of those, dude, so many people tell me things in confidence because they know I'm not a clout chaser. I'm not going to immediately run out to YouTube and like, whoa, look at the secret that I'm leaking. I don't do any of that shit. And I respect my relationships. People, I mean, dude, I know everything about all kinds of people. I don't run out to the interwebs talking. Yeah. So, it's like because of that, I do, I feel like I know a lot more maybe than the public knows about a lot of things. But I just don't do content about it because of that. And I also don't invest because of it.
Exactly.
Right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah.
I get my stake. I get what I'm interested in having, and that's it. They don't come to me. Somebody doesn't come to me and say, hey, you're going to really like what's coming next month. And then I rush out and buy a bunch so I can dump it. I've never fucking done that. Yeah. Well, A, I don't want to go to jail, but B, it's just like, that's just not something I do. I still have shit I bought in 2017. Like I like that I just never got rid of. Yeah. So it's just like, maybe I'm a pack rat in crypto, but some of that is just because I want to be safe. But anyway, World Mobile Token, obviously, without question, is significant. And I think that 2024 is going to be fucking bonkers for them, because if what I think is happening, and no, I don't know anything internally, but I get a lot of people asking me like, what's happening with Starlink and what's happening here and now. I'm like, I really don't know. I genuinely don't know. I'm not playing coy or playing stupid. I don't know. But if I'm the hazard to guess, there's probably a lot going on under the radar that there's probably a lot in the works, because you don't build a company to connect the unconnected like World Mobile Token does and not establish some form of partnership with a company like Starlink, who, like, when I bought the house in Cape Coral, when we moved here from Puerto Rico, we didn't have high-speed internet. And if you saw the where we lived, how do you not have high-speed internet? Is because it's such a small community and it's so far out that they never wired it. They said it cost $300,000 to wire high speed there. So what did I do? I bought a Starlink, one of their mobile units that wasn't even supposed to work where I lived, but it did. And that's how we had internet for a while. And I'm like, you want to connect the unconnected, and you want to do stuff in like very, very parts of the world where they just don't have anything. You're going to build a relationship with Starlink. You're going to bring those big balloons out everywhere, and you're going to set up the mesh networks. And I think it even goes beyond that. The only thing about World Mobile that I do question sometimes and how it would affect the token is what happened. And this may be 20 years down the line, though. I don't know. But what happens when you have already connected the unconnected and you've saturated all of the markets that the major telecom companies don't want to touch because of expense, but then it's just easier for them to just buy you and then acquire what you've established as a secondary service, right? How does that then affect the tokenization of everything, the token ecosystem and all of that? So that's the only thing, but I feel like that's way, way down the line. But yeah, I mean, those are my main ones. You know, there are others, I'm sure, that I'd have to look at my portfolio. I don't even remember what I have, honestly.
Yeah. Those are two of my favorite too. I love Mickey at World Mobile, Josh and Robert, Cornucopias.
Yeah.
Cornucopias also, like, so my recruiting firm, we recruit in Web3, but we have some studios, right, that we've searched for and done big like game engineer roles for. And so I appreciate the Unreal Engine 5 aspect of what they're doing. And it's like, it's sick because there's some huge studios in other ecosystems, and it's special that Cardano has like a game being built with such quality. So that's a reason I'm a big fan of them guys. But yeah, they're two tops for me as well, I would definitely say.
That was the smoothest dodge I've ever seen. You're like, I agree. Moving on. You really do have kind of a thing about talking about other projects.
I do, and it's ridiculous. I know it's silly.
You think are interesting but shitty.
I'm an overthinker. That's what it is. Like, there's nothing. I'm sure there's nothing wrong with me talking about like all these different projects. I'm an overthinker. I'm like very specific with stuff. And that's just, I mean, you know what? I will say I like Axo Trade.
Astro what?
Axo.
Yeah. I don't know anything about that one.
You don't know Axo?
Nope. Enlighten me.
Man. I mean, it's just like an exchange on Cardano. They're like using EUTXO to every extent possible. So like outside of Cardano, even from a trading perspective, an exchange perspective, like they're within the whole crypto space, they're doing like innovative stuff. I feel like just ahead of its time. But like you can go in there. I saw Cardano Thor. He's our marketing guy. He just did like a demo yesterday about like I think custom formulas and like setting up trading strategies, all of this. It's crazy what you can do, and you should look into it. It's pretty cool. But I like that project. I just think it's so like what they're doing.
I like stuff that's ahead of its time.
Yeah. And Charles, I did an interview with him a couple months ago. In February, I think, and he brought up Axo specifically, I think, because of how they're utilizing Cardano to do like ridiculous stuff that's not happening anywhere else. And I think that's like long term, that projects that are doing those types of things, I think are really, I think so.
If I go and I pick up a bunch of Axo and then it goes under, I can totally blame you.
There we go.
It's your fault. I bought this because you said you liked it. No, I'm not that stupid. But no, man, no, it's totally cool. Here's the thing. You know what I really look at? I look at the layer one and I say, how will this facilitate a new world order? How will this play into the World Economic Forum agendas, the tokenization of all assets, Internet of Things, monitoring how many times I fart in a day and calculate my carbon credits? Because whether we like it or not, that's where we're going. We do not have a say. We do not have any control. Democracy be damned. It's not fucking happening. Hasn't for a while, in my opinion, if I'm honest. And I'm so cynical about everything. So I look at it and I can say, well, I can sit around and bitch and complain and argue about how much I hate all this stuff, which I do. Or I can also figure out how it's all going to come about and play a financial role in at least benefiting my family as it's happening. And so when I look at projects like IAG, cloud-based file storage on the blockchain, and then you talk about an exchange, how will that exchange function when real world assets are tokenized, and what will be the use cases that they're able to adopt and bring to me as an end user and facilitate my involvement in it, right? How am I being connected to all of these transitions as the world starts to transform before my very eyes? And that's what, and then I look at, stuff like cornucopias. How will a metaverse play a role in these exchanges? How will things be embedded into a metaverse so that nobody, Like you and I were just talking, we never leave our houses, right? So the idea of us basically existing inside a metaverse on the out, like if somebody forced us into it, we'd be like, fuck you, I want my freedom. But the reality is we don't leave our houses. We have everything we need right here. So how will blockchain, how will metaverses, how will that allow us to not only be entertained, educated, and continue to build financially without ever having to leave our room or our visors or whatever? And so that's honestly, that's what I look at. That's when you say ahead of its time, I'm like, perfect, because that's something that the rest of the market will grow into. So what do they do that's ahead of their time, and how does that relate to the grand, agenda that I see playing out? Like a lot of people that don't know anything about like my I doubt you saw it, is like my Twisted Times NFT collection, where it was during COVID, and I launched, it was 24 NFTs, and everything was in some ways meant to be prophetic, while it was also kind of poking tongue in cheek at what was happening. Like I had Coven Karen,
Oh,
where
okay. I think I saw these.
she's wearing 20 masks and has a spray bottle, and she's screaming at some old guy because he's not wearing a mask, but she's spitting all over him. And it's like, it was just like, it was supposed to be tongue in cheek, but at the same time, one of those cards was a future employment. And future employment had basically everybody in these, like, they look like cryopods, and you had a little robot feeding them a hamburger through a slot, and then they've got these visors on, kind of like the Matrix tubes. And I'm like, that's future employment. That's how a lot of people are going to live, like Ready Player One style. And it sounds ominous and it sounds scary, but we're ultimately pushing. We're pushing for all of that, and they're more than happy to facilitate it. Keep us in our homes. Just consume a very limited amount to keep you floating, keep you moving.
You'll own nothing and be happy.
Own nothing and be happy. So that's a lot of what I look at. It freaks me out to some extent, but I just feel like that's where we're going. So when I look at blockchain and I look at crypto, I look at who's going to help facilitate me being able to take what I need out of these things and still allow me to live my life in a fruitful way at the same time. So yeah. So we got some interesting tidbits from you. Where do you see things going? Now you asked me, where do you think we're really going to be heading over the next year? Do you think the market cycle is going to peak out this year, next year, 10 years from now?
If it's weird because like not long ago when I was kind of just trying to get a sense of how long this cycle would last, this next bull cycle, time frame would probably be like, the next 12 months or so. And then I think it would top out, and then it would, I don't know what the next bear market would look like. Again, I feel like we might lose the consistencies that we've enjoyed over the years. So the next bear market could just look different, right? It might not look the same. But after, and this is what I've been trying to wrap my head around most recently, is after Bitcoin broke all-time high before Bitcoin halving, and didn't consolidate before doing that, for me, I still don't actually know what I think in terms of how
Was that
long.
just grayscale petering out and how much they were selling compared to how much the rest were buying, and it just caused that major rip?
Yeah, I mean that probably played into it, right? And not only just them doing it, but actually just people like being so hyped.
And the
about
FOMO
it.
of people thinking we're going to the moon tomorrow because of the pump.
Yeah, that could have played into it. But just the fact that it happened. I mean, Bitcoin broke all-time high. I think there's a case where it could be the bull cycle could go past 12 months. I think typically I'd be like looking at the next 12 to 14 months or something as like, okay, be prepared. There is a case, and I can't visualize it in my own head yet. I want to kind of mess around with data, but there's a case I think it does go longer. Because the other thing that's going on that I think will play such a critical role in that, this would really be what takes like the leash off of the market stuff. Like and I truly hope, I say time and time again, I think crypto will win because we have the law on our side. I think we do. We have the law on our side, right? If the judges rule according to law, crypto will win.
That's a scary
But
thought.
that's the scary thought, right? Especially right now.
Nowadays, it's scary.
Yeah. Not trying to bring politics or anything into this, but like
It plays a role, though.
It plays a role now. And so if crypto gets a fair shakeout, crypto wins, and then it's just like it's going to be weird.
Do you know why I think crypto will win?
Why is that?
Because I think it was all designed anyway. And I believe I would love to have someone like you, Benjamin Cowan, myself, maybe a fourth party, all really work on a project. I'm not saying we're going to do this, but I think about it because the way you think and the way you do your charting, and the way Benjamin Cowan thinks, and all the charts he has. I don't know if you've seen his Into the Cryptoverse.
Oh yeah, I'm a fan of it. Yeah, I'm a fan because I like his analysis, and he gets some slack from ADA community because he's not always like.
But have you ever logged into it?
Yeah, he's a great perspective. Oh, yeah. Logged into it. Logged
into his website, Into the Cryptoverse, where he's got like 10,000 fucking charts on every metric you can think of.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Someone like you would love that.
Yeah,
love it.
I was just talking to him about that like a couple weeks ago too. I should probably check it out.
Oh, you should check it out. Y'all, for sure, you should check it out. Like, I don't reference a lot of the charts yet. I've been in the site now for, I don't know, probably 6 months. But I was going through recently. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start pulling some of these because some of these are going to be really relevant very, very soon. Some of them already are. But I'm actually one of the people that actually believe that Bitcoin was created by government agencies anyway, for the sole purpose of bringing in a fully traceable, global currency. And I've done videos years ago about the original version that they tried to launch. Like the NSA literally tried to launch a version of e-money. And then it was discovered that they had a device called a Clipper chip that would basically access the backdoors in the algorithm and in the blockchain. And that's when that went away, and everybody was quiet on it until 10 years later, they launched Bitcoin on a better algorithm. And so when I think about the disconnect between, regulation today, a lot of it for me, I just feel like it's all a stall tactic.
Yeah.
I feel like it's all a stall tactic until these traditional companies have their foot planted firmly in the door. And then once they do, these ETFs are a big part of initiating that, but they'll have their trading desks. They have like their Onyx, whatever that system. They have all these systems in play. And then I think that the regulation will come to finality probably in the next administration. And that's when we'll start seeing some real significant changes and some clear cut, like A is B, B is Y, so forth and so on. These are the rules. These are the game. Have fun, folks. Don't try to be shady.
So you think that, huh? Yeah, that's I have two separate thoughts. That's my hopium circumstance. Is that's what's happening. I hope that's what's happening. But then my other thing is just like, literally, I think I posted about it yesterday. Like, I just feel like they're trying to destroy crypto. Maybe keep Bitcoin in play, have a hand on that. But like, that's the concern, is like, they're just.
If the World Economic Forum agenda is a real thing, and they want to truly tap into IoT, like Internet of Things, and they want to really control the input, the outflow of data on a global scale, because obviously this isn't just, the United States isn't the only country that's suffering a lot of these like crazy policies, right? We see it in Canada, we see it in Australia, where this is a global effort. They need blockchain to facilitate a lot of their plans. They just do. And I'm not saying I'm a fan of it. Don't get me wrong and don't get me twisted. The shit scares the hell out of me. But at the same time, I truly believe that they need a hell of a lot more than Bitcoin to facilitate all of this. Because when you think about like right now, the AI is basically running parts of the IRS. Like they can monitor your bank accounts. They know who you are. They can calculate your inflow and outflow of cash, capital, and all of that, and have kind of an idea as to what you should probably be paying before your accountant does. That's what I believe. And when you mix that in with all of the other efforts for like whatever the narrative is, whether it's climate change or whatever, and they want to count how many candy bars you eat in a week or how much steak you're consuming, all of that is going to be relevant. And the only way you're going to be able to keep track of that in a fail-proof way and utilize AI and utilize all of this stuff, not to mention all of the storage you're going to need to facilitate that and blah. I mean, dude, I'm pretty sure that they're converting like old mining farms. I recently heard they're converting old, like kind of out of date Bitcoin mining farms and then using them as cloud storage centers for a lot of this shit. I just feel like ultimately they need crypto and they need blockchain, but I think ultimately what they're going to do is they're going to basically get rid of all of the exchanges that aren't playing with their rules. If you're not on board with the agenda, you're probably going to get fined to hell in a handbasket until you can't exist anymore. They're going to favor the ones that are playing ball, like Coinbase. Even the Coinbase Binance thing, I broke it. I'm like, Binance is going to be the redheaded stepchild. Coinbase is going to get the pat on the back, say, good job, keep doing what you're doing. Here's the benefit. And then shortly after that, we saw BlackRock is using, Coinbase for XYZ while Binance is getting fined to death. And I mean, I called that shit before it was happening because it's just a part of the narrative and how I see things having to take place. The CBDCs, you're going to have to trade in and out of a CBDC before you get in any crypto position. That's what I think. They're going to have to be able to monitor that shit. So I won't get too carried away or crazy. But when I think about crypto and patterns, I'm very curious to see how algorithmic are the actual ebbs and flows of the market still to this day, and how much of that was predetermined and put into the algorithm or put into something. Like, I believe that there are systems in play moving this market like one grand market maker, and we're all just trying to figure it out.
It definitely seems like that, doesn't it?
Sure does. Listen, man, we've been talking for over an hour. There are like, it looks like 2,300 people. I know you're busy. It's already 1:00. We have to do this again though, and like catch up. And
yeah, you know what I wanted to talk to you about too? We can do it. Maybe not today, but just another. Okay. I want to talk to you about Cardano governance because I think, like, especially as content creators, I think it's an exciting thing. Obviously, Voltaire and everything, but I think there's going to be like a lot of challenges there as well, like tough conversations to be had. And I think it would be a good idea to start like just coming out with those tough conversations and like talking about it a little bit, because
great idea,
something to anticipate. You know what I'm saying?
I think when governance is fully kicked in, that's probably when we're going to start seeing Cardano ETS being proposed, because they're going to want to be able to control some of that too.
You would think, right?
But we'll talk about that for sure.
Good conversation.
Yeah. Dan, I really appreciate you coming on, man. This is a good chat. You sparked a lot of my own thoughts, so I go on these little tangents of my own. Hopefully, I didn't drown you out.
Dude, awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and you're in Florida, I think, right? Like we have to hook up sometime and like go and just drink ourselves silly, maybe sometime closer to the peak of the market.
I don't drink, but I will absolutely.
Okay, fair enough. I don't look either anymore, but yeah, I will
absolutely hang out with you, man. I would definitely look forward to meeting. I can't believe it took us this long to even meet on video. So
yeah, we're gonna have to bridge that gap even further as we move forward. You're always welcome anytime you want to talk about anything, just hit me up, man. We just hit a button and we go. It's all good to me.
You as well. Cool. Thanks for having me, man. And I appreciate you, and everybody else watching. Appreciate you all too. So
absolutely, man. See you soon. Thanks for joining us, folks. We'll see you guys soon. Until then, crow your coins.